Welcome guys, thank you for joining me. This is the PSY, that is PSY, Global Predictions for July for 2020. It also taps into collective conscious energies, a little bit of remote viewing, psychic intuitive works as well. I tend to use these two different decks. This is the PSY deck, which is the PSY deck, and this is what it looks like. I know a lot of you ask about this particular deck of cards. I think it is quite difficult to get hold of. This is your traditional Morgan Greer Tarot deck. Now before we start, just a bit of housekeeping for you all. If you are subscribed to the channel, please check that you are still subscribed. I'm getting emails from people who tell me that they are normally subscribed to my channel. They go to look for my uploads and then they realize they have been desubscribed. We're not sure exactly what's going on, but something is. So do check your subscriptions. Please resub if you've been desubbed. Hit the notification bell, and if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification button as well. So we know that we've moved into July. We still have an eclipse coming in July at the very beginning, and it's an eclipse in Capricorn. We've had two very powerful ones in June that I think will have set us all into new dynamics, if you like. So as we thread our way through the rest of 2020, there are many new timelines, pathways, emotions, ideas, concepts, technology. They're all beginning to really evolve, and some of it is due to the event that took place at the beginning of the year that has pushed the energy field around the planet. It has pushed it into a new dynamic or a different perspective than it was at the beginning of the year. So a lot of change has taken place at a supersonic speed, and this has also taken place for us as individuals, as humans, in our energy field, and that affects the collective conscious energy field, which affects the outcomes as the year evolves as well. So there are many different things that go in toward shaping the future possible timelines that we walk into, or possible event scenarios that could occur. Let's take a little look first into this deck and see collectively, globally, what is just surrounding the energies of the planet. Well, that's nice. The Ace of Pentacles, that's to do with finances. So we'll just have to look into that a little bit more and see what else is coming from this deck. Generally it bodes quite well. I'm not sure that it was entirely upright. I think it was more like this, sort of on an angle, which could mean that it is still evolving into some sort of energy field. Ooh. But usually the aces are a good sign, and especially this one in terms of pentacles or financial opportunities. And one of the next cards that came out was the 10 of Pentacles, and with it was the Devil that has come in there as well. Both the Ace and the 10 of Pentacles really do represent a positivity and a weightedness in terms of money, in terms of generational money. So there's a feeling of things like long-term businesses or long-term held money is still there, but I wonder collectively if some of it has been infiltrated by the devil, or that the devil energy. Now the devil could represent many different things in this particular reading. It could represent this is really interesting. It could represent something that some of you will believe in and some will not believe exists, but it's this feeling of things like the Illuminati, and that ties into a lot of conspiracy theories. So this video could very well get put on a backlist if we go too deeply into that, because at the moment places that are public forum areas are really clamping down on things such as I have just mentioned, and some channels have been removed altogether. So we're finding a degree of a freedom of speech is being halted. Now that freedom of speech that's being halted could well be being governed by institutions that represent very much a figurehead that looks like this. Now this also comes up in situations such as the Harvey Weinstein, the Jeffrey Epstein, the Prince, the Duke of York, or whatever his name is, the Prince Andrew of the UK, the paedophilia rings globally, the whole Pizzagate saga issue, if any of you know about that, the Podesta thing. So this card could be suggesting that global finances might be tied up into it. There's also a couple of other big names that are mentioned in there. There's a whole look, it's a massive conundrum field of energy that's really pulling a lot of strength at the moment around the globe. There are a lot of people who are following these hypotheses or possibilities, who knows if they're real or not, and they are definitely brewing a lot of energy around the planet. Now this could indicate that there is just this type of energy that is occurring between the collective conscious, or the people on the planet who are fueled up about it, mad about it. They want some things done. They want something cleared up. They want freedom around their money in particular, especially if it's being held down or if it's being manipulated or monopolized by certain areas like governments or big companies or big pharma or things like that. People are wanting the freedom from that. It feels as though with those three that are there is a tie-in, or there is a link in. So this insinuates that maybe in July, and it might be because of the energy of the eclipses and the planetary alignments we've had, and the retrograde planets that have all been congealing together with this amazing force field behind them. It's like a galactic force of energy that has circled the planet, and it's like a sweeping vacuum cleaner coming to clean some things out and open them up. So maybe for July this type of thing starts to happen, and we find some things are opened up, and that the truths are given to us, or they are slowly fed to us one way or another, and they might involve things such as our financial systems, our monetary systems, who's holding the power, who gives the power, who has the money. It could be things along those lines. It could even be things to do with the event that took place earlier in the year that had us all into the lockdown scenario. The other possibilities of this card in particular are a negative agent on the planet who is coming to the surface, and this one would tend to think would be the representative of a government or a country that holds quite a dark energy or a hidden agenda energy. So you tend to think of places like China, North Korea, Russia, some of the Middle Eastern countries as well. There could be that. So the Devil card often means there is an imbalance in our life. There is a hidden agenda going on. There is some dark, devious stuff going on. There can be obsessions. There can be addictions. These things could also be brought into the surface of light in July, and it could be individuals that are facing this more than just countries. So we could be coming back to the individual feeling on the planet for people. You know, are people teetering on more addictions and more obsessions and more obsessed mentality? Do we see things like terrorist attacks, or what we would call demonic energy, or people who are obsessed or possessed or losing their mental stability? Do we see more of this coming in July as well? So you can see the depth at which this Devil card could be traversing society and the energies around us. It also represents Capricorn energy, and the eclipse is in Capricorn, and if you look at the back of the Devil's head, we see this ecliptical looking red orb, which could be the sun. So again, this could be referencing energies or patterns or evolution or movements that are going to rise from the power of this third and final eclipse of this particular eclipse season in the year. These eclipses have been very, very deeply powerful, and I think most of us will have felt it one way or another, but they're threading through the very core of society and affecting a lot of things, even things like financial institutions, markets, shares, stocks, values, currency, how we use it, buy it, sell it, trade it, and of course Capricorn energy, which is tied into this card as well, and the eclipse, actually do in part rule finances and government institutions, perhaps banks that hold money. So I have a feeling that these three cards pertain a great deal of deep information that, when it surfaces, could hold long haul change in direction around some of these things, such as finances, information, government leaders, big countries that hold secrets, institutions, the psychology of people, and the top people who have been perhaps hidden agenda, hidden cults, pedophiles, sex rings, abuse, pornography. There could be a lot of this come to the surface one way or another, be touched on or opened on or broken into. It's I think, I'm not an astrologer, and I think most of you know that. I work sort of intuitively and psychically as well. So the information I receive comes from a very vast pool of material and sources available. So I also work galactically in particular, and I just think that the information that the astrologers have been giving us about the intensity of the lineups of planetary movements and eclipses in the second half of 2020 is so profound and powerful that we knew that this year was going to literally shake the foundations of humanity and our understanding and our belief systems and where we're headed. Let's just see if there's something else that comes out, maybe just to give a little bit more clarity. So that's the Nine of Swords, and it's sort of self-explanatory in many ways. This is kind of like feeling a bit locked down again, tied up. So whether or not we go into more of the lockdown scenario, whether we feel more oppression, whether we feel tied up, or whether we're wanting to break free of bondage. And bondage could be past historical ties, or feeling trapped over a lifetime or many lifetimes. This could even relate to freeing the weight of imbalance over things like the Black Lives Matter. So this movement could continue to grow, and we could see more and more people wanting freedom, this desire to be free of authority or dictatorship or rules. So there could be a whole lot of this energy coming in here that wants the freedom from the top. They want to stand on their own. The Nine of Swords often talks about too nighttime activities, lack of sleep for some people, feeling afraid at night, things that occur at night, dreamscapes being vivid and wild and unbelievably intense. And it also has a feeling of anxiety and tension and worry. So there could be this general move of that threading through society, but it could also be that these people in this club, for want of a better word, that these people in these clubs that have been doing obsessive or dangerous activities or dark stuff might be feeling threatened or feeling trapped or feeling caught. So again, we've just, these are really powerful cards that have come for July. They seem to have a lot of, I feel this power coming within them, a little bit of darkness, most definitely. So, and a little bit of, I think, change. When we see that Devil card, change. Look, we're back again with a Pentacle. And the Pentacles are slow moving in terms of timing. So this could also suggest that whatever this is that's going on has either been going on for a while, or that it moves, continues to move and take shape and be formatted, so that it's an event that could be unfolding still over a period of time. If we removed these from the scenario and we looked at just the financial cards that arrived, these still bode quite well. So if we took these and said they were a totally different part of the picture or energy, and we looked at the finances, we're feeling a bit more of a lifting for finances, or a positivity, or a movement, maybe a re-establishing at some point, a blending in, or a turning of the wheel. It feels as if maybe there might be some input or stimulus into the economy to try and help things be motivated. Maybe it's new ideas that are coming that create jobs or create potential income to be spent. So because that's what the Ace is. This is about concepts, ideas, productivity, the engineering of something new, an offer coming in. And so is this one very much. These two are, offer a positivity, and they're conceptual ideas as well. So this could be around ideas for money, or ideas that create money one way or another, new ideas. And I'm thinking in terms of technology or information or concepts, or things for the planet too, like helping to reduce pollution and take us through more of the technological aspects of help and support on the planet. So it depends which way we were looking at these. I do feel there's more than one message within the cards that arrived, most certainly. And if we looked at the bottom of the deck, and I've picked it up the wrong way, I think, but if we looked at the bottom of the deck, there was another Ace, and that's again concepts, ideas, evolution, revolution, very firm energy. So there's a great deal of strength that's coming in July, a power. There's a power within this month of July. I can feel it merging through. Oh my goodness, what's going on here? They're all exploding out. Let's just get these ready. So this is for July for 2020. These are the Psi cards now, and this is for the collective conscious reading. So really, I guess one of the first ones out was the libido, and then the stranger. We've talked a little bit about the stranger in as much that he matches this energy quite well. So you can start to put a little bit more of this together. So this could be global leaders or political leaders or countries that reminds us of the Iron Hand, which can be communist related countries. It can be hidden stuff that they're doing behind closed doors. It's a feeling of unwelcomeness, like a closed agenda. They don't want you to know everything. We're all still wondering what is happening with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. His sister, unfortunately, seems to have taken a very stern attitude towards South Korea and blew up a building there a couple of weeks ago. So she seems as feisty as her brother, which is a shame. So we're still not sure what happened to him. Is he alive? There is a possibility that a body double was used when he went to the fertilizer plant to open it in May, I think it was. This could also be Putin, Russian, China, Middle Eastern energies, but they tie in together to a degree. They could be very active in this month of July. There's also conflict going on with China and India. That's also a worry, as both of those are super nuclear powered energies. Coming back to this one, the Sage, he's very much about learning, evolution, great designs and concepts. So this is at the highly intellectual level, creating new design, product concepts, information, technology, AI, also to do with space travel, information about our planets and what might be traversing the planets as well. He can also pertain to things such as religious leaders like the Pope. So the Pope or the Catholicism or Catholic realm might be in the news in July as well. Now if we come back to perhaps these two, the Tower and the libido references our animals around the planet. So animal die-offs might be more visual or more of them in July. The libido is a rushing surge of wild energy. Now it can often occur when there is a mass compassion event. We had a big mass compassion event with George Floyd, very sadly. There could be another big event in a place like America in particular, or possibly even Canada, when this card comes out. So it brings a degree of compassion, and we all feel this, oh my God, how did that happen? So often it is a tragedy. Sometimes it's a mass shooting event in America. It can also represent huge storms with wild flowing energy and water, sometimes cyclonic storms that form off the coast of a country, or big rainstorms that come through land and almost cause like inland tsunamis. The Tower card, I don't know if it represents quite the same energy as the Tower in the tarot card, because you don't particularly want to get the tarot Tower and the Devil in the same reading. They don't bode well. I haven't usually associated this particular Tower card with the Tarot Tower. Oh my God, it's a mouthful to get out. I tend to think of this more as buildings that can be shaken and shook up. That could be an allegorical thing, such as shaking up Parliament or shaking up political or the foundations of our fundamental principles in life. It could be shaking things like those up, which would make sense with this as well. You know, a shift in the energy field, a shift in what's been ruling us or holding us, or hidden agenda stuff. But it can also mean physical shaking of buildings in earthquakes, and sometimes through places that have buildings like this, such as Europe, sometimes Italy in particular, but also up through places like the Middle East, Pakistan, and possibly even through areas like China, which may be subjected to some quakes through this time period. We haven't quite finished the Psi cards yet. There's a few more that can come out for this reading. Now I've really, interestingly enough, made a mess of them, and they're sitting there in this conglomerated looking mess, and I don't normally do that. They normally hold quite a structured format. So maybe the whole thing is messy, a messy July, with things coming and going, up and down, in and out. The moon, well, that refers again to our eclipses. This is the Cancer season. This is also the area or the Tropic of Cancer. We also note the sea, the ocean. Is there something upside down about the moon or the eclipse? Does it turn us upside down? Is there something falling from the sky that we note or that we see? Or do we have turbulent emotions again, which and emotions that are upside down or inside out, which is again where this card comes in, you know, obsessive emotions or unbalanced emotions, unbalanced relationships a lot of the time as well. So there does feel to be some unbalance coming in July. This is for July 2020. collective conscious energies around the planet for Gaia and for us as humans on the planet. Ooh. Perhaps I should have stopped a little bit earlier. So I think that's 2 times in a row this has been out. I don't like it at all. And last time I think it came out, I saw this face, and this face of woe, and been damaged. He's dead. I really hope we don't experience, that's a car doing wheelies outside on the road, and we live in a pretty quiet neighbourhood, so that's odd right at this given point in time. I do think we have a fairly intense month coming ahead, and it would pay for us all to find balance and to find peace and calm and to focus on the positives. But more than anything, when we go through periods like this, where we see energies like this and perhaps situations like this occurring, it catapults us into the new direction of change, and it clears out a lot of bad energy. And there has been a lot of dark, bad energy on the earth form over millennia, and has been harboured and has been grown by some and nurtured by some. And I think this is the time for it to be cleaned out. And to clean things out, you must move it aside, and that is generally a turbulent time. So in clearing out the clutter and moving away the poison, just as it would happen if it were a wound in your body, it can be painful in the initiating parts, but it brings us to a calmer, more prosperous, light-based future, which is what we are seeking eventually for all of us. This also can represent fires and burnings. I see the church in the background as well. Is there fire and burning of a church? Or maybe is that again allegorical in terms of the systems just falling down because they're flawed. They've all been fundamentally very, very flawed from the get-go. So I think we move into a period of the beginning of balance. And there were some cards in here I wouldn't normally take anymore, but there were these 3 that seemed to get themselves upright. The Fool, the Voyage, and Fortune. And Fortune again can refer to money. It can also refer to big cyclonic weather events like a cyclone or a tornado coming out of the dark. So something coming out of the dark that we will see. The Voyage can represent the sun's energy, and it can also represent up through the Middle East areas of the planet. Powerful vibrations coming from the galactic core. So this can also raise vibrations. It can also change energies on the planet at many different levels. And we see the ship that could represent ships or boats. We also see the sea again, that can represent sea movement, high tides, surging seas, potential tsunamis. The Fool is often about earthquakes, shaking, and also if we take it at the more literal level, it is about beginning a new journey and heading into the new phase of directions. And believe me, after what we've seen through here, there is a lot of change coming, and the change isn't going to just stop in June or July. The change is the evolution of the cusp of the new way we live, the new way we move forward. So there we are, everyone. That is the reading for July for the global conscious collective energy force that is giving out these messages. It is intense. There's a lot going on. We just have to see how it plays out. So thank you for joining me. Remember to sub the channel and to hit the notification bell. And I love it when you all get involved in this and leave your comments, your hypotheses of what you believe the cards mean. And let's all put some positive energy into having the light infuse all the negative vibrations that are here, the people who do the harm, the people who work in that darkness. Let's put the light towards them so that it can be brought out, it can be resolved, it can be healed, and it can be moved on so that we can all live a safe and prosperous life. Much love, everyone. Namaste.